All right, guys, this is probably going to be a part 2 because I kicked the video off when Mike started advertising his book for Christmas and says he'll autograph his books for people and all that. And I kicked it off, and after I kicked it off, ended the video, I started it back, and he went on to talking some more. So let's just do a part 2 here. Let's let him finish. He's got some more to do.
Other than that, it's just another work day for me. I've got a video to put out. I'm going to take some of the evidence from the file and let you see some of it.
Did you hear that, guys? He's going to take some of the evidence from the file. What kind of evidence from the file? The evidence was lost. Even the original file was lost. How did these reports, if the original file was lost in 76, they were still looking for it in 83. They're still looking for it in 2023 to 25 in the new report. They're still looking for evidence and files and different things. Where did these reports come from? These statements, supposedly from Buford Pusser, supposedly from Jim Moffitt. Where'd they come from? Where'd any of this stuff come from if the files were lost? Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
And see why that the TBI and the District Attorney General, Mark Davidson, believe that Buford murdered Pauline, and why it was suggested that the TBI just go ahead and close the case based upon the information that they developed. And I'm proud to have been a part of that.
Of course you are.
I certainly didn't have the resources that the TBI has. We got the ball rolling when Ricky Plunk called.
No, sir, you got the ball rolling when you told Mr. Davison and Mr. Roush and the other guys that, hey, guys, we can be in the movies. This will be the biggest thing since popcorn. This will be the biggest thing since I don't know what. Because when I get my book wrote and get it out there, they will do a movie on this, and you guys will be famous. You guys can even, you'll have your names in the book. Make sure if you hold a news conference that you put your name on the wall and on the podium and stuff. Make sure they know who you guys are, because you definitely want to get your name out there. And that's why the case was reopened. People was looking for fame, fortune, and name notoriety.
And asked about the gun and how he would be able to determine its background and so on. And the TBI's told me that.
Ricky Plunk called and asked Mike about the gun, how he could determine the background and all that. He didn't call the police. He didn't call the TBI or Highway Patrol. He called Mike Elam, because Mike's the real deal.
That's the reason why that they got into this in the first place. So for all those people that wanted it, that are out there that want to demonize Ricky and make personal attacks.
Guys, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm making personal attacks. I don't want to personally attack anybody. I'm attacking people's credibility. I'm attacking their integrity, their honesty. That's what I'm attacking. I'm attacking their honesty and their integrity. I sure am. I'm not attacking the person themselves, but that person themselves are responsible for their own integrity and character and honesty. Ricky Plunk got a gun from his father, and his father told him that that gun was one of the guns that O'Neill Moffett stole. And he told his son Ricky that he's had that gun since the day Pauline Pusser was killed on New Hope Road. Now, people's going to differ on how P.D. Plunk got that gun. We think that's spoken in the history, but it doesn't matter. Let's for sake of argument, it doesn't matter. Ricky Plunk said in his statement that that was one of the guns that was stolen by O'Neill Moffett. He's had that gun for 58 years, him or his father. If it don't go any farther than that, it was a stolen military rifle, and he's had it. His father, a deputy sheriff, a sworn police officer, has had that stolen gun for 58 years until he died. And he's had it since the day that Pauline Pusser was killed. Do you think that that gun didn't have some significance to Pauline Pusser's death? I do. Sheila and I do. We believe it was involved in the ambush. They can't prove it because they've lost the casings, the TBI has. They have lost the casings for that .30 caliber gun. But we feel with P.D. Plunk giving it to Ricky and telling Ricky that he picked it up the day that Pauline Pusser was killed. Did he pick it up or did he have it? Was he involved? Was he involved in the ambush itself? Is that out of line to ask a question like that? Could P.D. Plunk have been involved in the murder of Pauline Pusser and the shooting of his sheriff, Buford Pusser? We don't know that. We don't know that. But what we do know is that by his own son's admission, this son that Mike Elam likes to refer to as a hero, and he doesn't want people demonizing him, I won't demonize him, but I'll demonize his thinking. I'll demonize his character and his integrity because he's knowingly, he's intentionally, he's wantonly had possession of a stolen gun that he knew was stolen since he was in his teens. His dad gave it to him. What kind of person is that? And Mike says, don't demonize him. Guys, that's a criminal. You're committing a criminal offense when you're in possession of stolen property, of anything that you know that is stolen from somebody else, and you're in possession of it. And especially when these two guys go out and shoot it, so Mike could get some empty casings and empty projectiles. And then in Mike's last video, he says, for all you Buford Pusser fans, if you want to prove him innocent, go dig. Go dig first, get your own evidence. Go. Why would he make a comment like that? Go dig? It's been 58 years. Do you think you could go out there and dig and find anything at the ambush sites? I do. I honestly do. I think that's called a clue or a hint. Could I be reading into it? I could be, but it's Mike's words. He says, don't add nothing to it. Just go look, go find your own evidence to prove Buford innocent. Guys, we don't have to prove Buford innocent. It's not our place to prove Buford innocent. How do you prove somebody innocent? Only way you could prove Buford innocent of anything is just say, well, Buford was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I see that sign behind Mike's head there. He's got him a little patch up there. Buford was in Tulsa, Oklahoma on August the 12th, 1967. Well, okay, that clears that up. If there's an alibi and witnesses there, then it definitely wasn't Buford. That's how you prove Buford innocent. You can't do that because Buford was there. He also was shot. Come on, guys. Come on. Got to do better. Put your thinking caps on. Remember that cartoon or movie used to come on when we was kids, and that teacher romper room or something it was called, and everybody, all the kids would gather around, and she'd hold that mirror up, and she'd say, I see Alice, and I see Timmy, and I'd see Freddie, and oh, it'd tickle me to death when I was a kid, and she'd say Freddie, because I'm thinking she can see me through that TV, and she'd say, put your thinking caps on. Hey, guys, put your thinking caps on. This man has no evidence. This man has what they have wrote in a report from people that's 80 years old with dementia, that they have read in a report from people that says they were told something from dead people. Even Mike has said that he's told things, and half the people, over half that he says told him stuff is dead. You know, Mike says that, what was her name? P.D. Plunk's wife was out running around with Pauline that night and had just taken Pauline home. They'd been bar hopping and all this and that. But yet her blood alcohol, when they done the autopsy, was 0. She had some coffee in her system. But he says that she was parked down the street waiting for her. But yet her daughter says that she was at home with her and her brother. That was not a true story Mike told. Who do you believe, guys? You believe somebody from Bentonville, Arkansas, or do you believe the woman's daughter? Do you believe the grandchildren and the children of Buford and Pauline Pusser? Do you believe his parents? I saw a newspaper article a while back. They're both deceased now. They didn't know nothing about this. They bragged on Buford like crazy. Why is that? Parents, the mother, the daughter never told her mother, Mom, me and Buford's having problems. Mom, Buford beats the crap out of me. Mom, I'm afraid he's going to kill me. Mom, They never had stories like that to tell. Grandchildren don't. The children didn't. Where'd all this come from, guys? This is spoken and written in the history. And Mike Elam says if you tell people something enough, they'll start believing it. He's a master. He's a master of storytelling. He's a master of manipulation. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist. I'm nothing. I'm a retired 40-year career police officer. I am nothing. But I know a bullcrapper when I see one. I learned that in the Marine Corps at 17 years old. You learn people. You learn people, just like Mr. X, just like the guy that's a bully, likes to bully people. I learn people like that. You learn them early. Let's go ahead and see what Mike's got here.
You know, unless you've got something really good to say, you shouldn't say anything.
Unless you've got something good to say, guys, you shouldn't say nothing. Now, wait a minute, except for Buford. Now, if you want to say Buford killed his wife, if you want to say Buford broke his wife's nose, if you want to say Buford argued with his wife at 4 o'clock in the morning at a honky-tonk while there was a couple of lot lizards out in the parking lot listening to them argue because they had to go outside and smoke. If you want to talk about Buford, you can. But don't say nothing about Ricky Plunk, because if you say something about Ricky Plunk, guess who you're also referring to? You're referring to Mike Elam. Mike Elam had as much to do with that stolen gun and that possible murder homicide weapon as Ricky Plunk did. Now, Mike can fool you people and think, oh, you all should call Ricky Plunk. If there's ever a hero, it's Ricky Plunk. Well, that goes both ways too, because if you call Ricky Plunk a hero when talking about that gun, you're also calling Mike Elam a hero. Oh, Mike wouldn't mind that at all. But if you blame Ricky Plunk for having that gun and concealing it and being in possession of a stolen homicide weapon all them years, then you're also accusing Mike Elam because he's guilty. He's admitted on several videos that he shot the gun. Now, he drove 900 miles round trip. Now, he tries to tell you there in one thing that, well, we didn't know that it really had any. Really? You just took off 900 miles? I think I'll just drive 900 miles and drive up here to Adamsville and look at this. This gun ain't got no significance, but I'm just going to do it because there's 6 million of them out there, but I'm going to go look at this one. Mike Elam knew what it had, and what it didn't have, Mike Elam could write up a story for as he went along. He's that good. It's my opinion.
Because this isn't about personalities. This isn't about people in particular. This discussion is about evidence. And you can say all you want to that gun may not have been connected, but that was only one simple piece of the overall investigation.
Very important piece, Mike. That gun's a very important piece. Stolen by O'Neill Moffett, M1, 30 caliber. There's 14 30 caliber spent casings found on New Hope Road on August the 12th, 1967. Very, very interesting and important piece of evidence an M1 rifle would be. If only the TBI had not lost the 14 spent casings, so the ballistics experts could have looked at the ejector rods, could have looked at the rafflings, could have looked at the firing pin marks. Yes, it's very important. What's even more important would have been that 30-06, the high velocity round that blew Pauline's brains out, most of which went all over Buford, most of which is what you see on the hood of that car as he's running around the car to check on his wife. Guys, this is not a hard case to solve. They're spinning a story here, and they spin it in every direction except the truth. And you can do that when you're telling a lie. See, it's hard to to do something when you're telling the truth, because you've got that one story, one narrative that you got to go with. Well, this is the truth. This is what happened. But boy, when you're telling a lie, you can tell it one way 1 minute. You can tell it one way on the next video. You can tell it. And unless a person watches these videos over and over, you think, oh, crap, where'd that come from? That's not what he said before. That woman's name was Levon. That was P.D. Plunk's mother. That was the daughter's mother that Mike Elam says was out partying all night and said she heard a gunshot and went home. Her daughter says she was at home. That's not true. That's spoken and written in the history by Mike Elam.
There was so much more. There is so much forensic evidence that's in there.
What, Mike? What, Mike? If I was looking at you right now in court, I'd ask you, what forensic, Mike? Tell us. What forensic evidence was there? Because the blood samples on the hood and on the rear bumper and on the windshield was inconclusive. What forensic evidence? The autopsy says that they didn't know whether she was shot one time or multiple times. So much of her skull is gone and missing and broken, and they couldn't tell. What forensic? A well-healed? The anthropologist said that Pauline had a well-healed nasal fracture from could have been years and years ago when she was married to her first husband, which her own family says abused Pauline. That's why she went to Buford. Buford took her and took care of her. Now, Mr. Davison says on the stage that she has a healing. Pauline Pusser had a healing nasal fracture. That's what he said at the news conference. You don't have to take my word for it. Go back. Google Buford Pusser news conference, August 29th, 2025, and listen at about 12 minutes. Mr. Davison says she had a healing nasal fracture. Healing? Why would a prosecutor, a well-educated, a man of the criminal justice system, make a comment like that when the report says, by the anthropologist, a well-healed? He read the same report Sheila and I read. He's reading the same report that you guys are reading out there. How could he get that mixed up? Why would he say that? Why would you get a certified anthropologist to do an autopsy or help with the autopsy, and then the anthropologist gives you a report and it says a well-healed nasal fracture, and the prosecutor says Pauline Pusser had a healing nasal fracture, often associated with domestic violence? Really? Wow. Guys, if y'all can't see I'm so saddened by our criminal justice system, by your all's justice system in Tennessee, because it's
filed it. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it is, Mike.
Those are the points that you need to actually counter with your own forensic evidence suggesting that it didn't happen that way.
Why, Mike? Why do we have to supply forensic evidence? The forensic evidence that they have gotten was good enough. They can't tell how many times she was shot, what directions she was shot. They can't get the trajectory. They say there's one from back to front, at least one from back to front. Buford says, or so they say Buford says, that she was shot in the forehead. Could that have been the bullet coming out the front with her eyeball? Or could that be the grazing wound going down the side of her head, where they pulled up beside the car and just happened to get a shot? Too many hypotheticals, guys. Hypothetical this, hypothetical that.
Other than that, you're falling short. So, that being the case, hey, I'll get off here. I've got a video to do today for YouTube.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about these YouTube videos, guys. Mike Elam gets a whole lot more viewers than I get, and it's got nothing to do. Mine is strictly, in fact, Sheila, we used to do them on Sheila's channel, and people, everybody's not into the Buford Pusser deal. Well, Sheila's been teaching a lot here lately too, substituting. So she's retired, but she's gone back to almost full-time teaching. But so that's why she's not putting a lot of videos out. She's busy, but I'm putting most of the Buford Pusser on Fred McCoy 40 just because we don't get that many views. She does it on her channel, and people saying, if you'll post something else, I'll watch, but I'm not into Buford Pusser. And again, Sheila and I was never into Buford Pusser, but guys, if you would, all I ask, if I could ask one thing, is just keep an open mind when you listen to these. When you listen to me or Sheila, keep an open mind to what everybody says, especially that prosecutor, especially that TBI director, because they're standing there telling you, and you automatically assume that they're telling you the truth. And I realize that from 40 years of being a police officer. I realize that these badges and these titles and these law degrees carry some weight with some people. You can't do that no more. It's no longer these people. Mr. X says he's a deacon. He's a ordained minister. Mr. X, the bully, the guy that is a bully and treats people and threatens people with guns. When he's tuck it down now, but I'm going to do a video on that one tomorrow. Stay tuned on that, because I was letting all that go, but I'm going to be putting another one out. Guys, thanks for watching. This will be part 2, final part to Mike Elam's there, and catch you on the next one.